Hello, welcome to Record Time. Record Time is a weekly Akashic experience where we explore simple and mysterious themes through the lens of the Akashic Records. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're unsure what the Akashic Records are or what an Akashic Record reading is, I invite you to check out my website, ninaruchi.com, and there I have videos all about what the records are and what a reading is, and you could even listen to me give a reading for someone live. So lots of fun stuff to explore there. And if you're an old friend, welcome back. I'm excited to be here with you today. Thanks for taking the time to gather with me as we tune into the records this week. As I'm listening in for the message this week, feel free to take a moment to just settle in and arrive wherever you are. If you're multitasking, I invite you to give your attention to the other thing you're doing. But if it's safe and accessible, you can close your eyes. Just notice how you feel right now. Notice if there's anything you can do to make yourself even 1% more comfortable. If that's adjusting the way you're sitting, or stretching out a little bit, having a sip of water, whatever that looks like for you right now. Okay, it seems like the message is still kind of forming, but it seems like the theme is going to be fear, how we relate to fear and how we move through it one step at a time. So first, the records are sharing that if you've ever been on the cusp of something, or if you've ever had the feeling where it's like, I want to do something, but I'm scared to do it, they're inviting us into this space of neutral reflection, where if you feel yourself kind of worrying about something or having these thoughts, anxious thoughts of like, if I do this, something else will happen, XYZ will happen, and I don't want to deal with that, or I don't know if I can deal with that, I don't know if I can handle it. If that's kind of what's happening, then you can just gently bring yourself into a space of neutral reflection. And they're saying, consider what the internal experience of that is versus the external experience of that. So they're kind of just allowing us to sit in the middle, sit in a place where you can see what's happening inside and also see what's happening outside, where they're inviting us to reflect on, is the thing I'm worried about actually happening right now? And they're not even really asking, is it likely to happen? Because it's easy to kind of spiral out from there and kind of just like invent probability of what may or may not happen and get caught up in guessing. So they're just asking, is the thing I'm worried about happening right now? And if this is a fear that's holding you back from doing something, then it's very likely that the thing you're worried about, the thing you're afraid of happening, isn't actually occurring right now in the present. And so from that space of recognizing, oh, the thing I'm scared about isn't happening right now, it's almost like a natural permission slip to let go of the anxiety we're feeling in the present about something that may or may not happen in the future. Right? So it's just kind of sinking into a deeper awareness, coming back into contact with what's happening right now. And then from this space of recognizing, okay, the thing I'm afraid of isn't happening right now, then you can go deeper into reflecting. If this were to happen exactly as I'm afraid of it happening, do I trust myself to be able to handle it one step at a time? And there's no right or wrong answer to this. This is just an inquiry. It's a way to kind of feel into where you are in relationship to yourself and your capacity to handle whatever it is you might be afraid of. So then, once you ask that question, once you inquire about whether or not you trust yourself to be able to handle that fear if it were to happen, one step at a time, feeling into that space and just being with whatever arises from that inquiry. And there's more. And then from there, there's a third thing you can ask, which is, if this fear, this thing that I'm worried will happen, if it doesn't happen, do I trust myself to be able to move through that one step at a time too? So again, this whole process is about arriving at a place of neutral reflection, recognizing that right now in this moment, the thing you're worried might happen isn't actually happening right now. And from there, kind of using that as an anchor for present moment awareness and clarity and relaxation, to relax into the fact that everything is okay right now, that fear, you don't have to face it right now. It's not here right now. And then from there, investigating these two different paths. If this does happen, do I trust myself to hold that? Touching in with your capacity to hold that. But then touching in with this possibility that's also very likely that fear may never arise. That thing may never happen. And do you trust yourself? Do you have the capacity to not have to deal with that, to not ever face or incur that problem or that fear? And this might seem silly at first, like, of course, like I would love to not experience that problem. That would be great. But really holding space for that as a real possibility. Like, oh, this fear, I'm worried this thing might happen. I'm not sure it will happen, but if it does, you're kind of holding space for the reality that might happen. And at the same time, holding space for the reality that may never happen. And so it's almost like, instead of just tuning in with your capacity to hold something difficult, where is your capacity to hold something easeful? So checking in with these two different capacities, right? And they're saying a lot of times we spend most of our energy building up our capacity to deal with what's difficult, to prepare ourselves, to brace ourselves and tense ourselves for something difficult. And what happens is we're only anticipating something bad happening, and that causes us to be in a mode of tenseness right now, to be stressed right now. And yet there's always the possibility that the thing we're worried might happen may never happen at all. And so again, it's like, can you come into a space of neutrality where you're in contact with your ability, your capacity to deal with something difficult in the moment where it happens, if it happens, and where you're also in contact with your ability and capacity to hold and receive something easeful if and when that does happen. So it's an invitation to, come into neutrality and then touch in with these two different capacities. Your capacity for challenge and coping with stress, and your capacity for holding and receiving ease without the worry that something bad will happen. So, something to think about this week. Where are you at? And where are you at with these two capacities? Do you tend to favor one capacity over the other? And is it possible? Could you spend time cultivating both of these dual capacities for coping with stress when it's necessary and for receiving ease when that is what is real and present for you at any given moment? So I'd love to know what you think about this. This was a really fun kind of perspective for me too. I enjoyed hearing this for the first time with you. So yeah, if you have thoughts about this, reflections, anything you want to share, feel free to leave a comment or send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, I'm wishing you well until next time. Namaste.